Hey everybody. So, welcome back to Songwriting stream number 2. I'm just also checking, making sure sound's coming through okay. Sweet. Awesome. And so this time I can actually see your comments as you're commenting. Uh, so, picking up from where we were last week with this original song. Um, and I'm still kind of debating on a name for it, but this time I know we kind of got that basic intro, the little followed by better than that with actual right notes. So yeah, today just kind of picking up from that. Like I've said before, this is our songwriting stream that is just kind of where a lot of our songs start, is just me kind of in a room by myself. And then kind of working out the skeleton of it and then taking it to our drummer Nick and getting his input. And something I've always said is like, I'll bring Nick a skeleton of a song, and Nick adds all the meat and tendons and actually turns it into a functioning song. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of the cool thing I hope you see with this process, with these series of videos, is that these songs aren't really complete or finished until Nick has his input. And that's kind of, I guess, how a band works. Because Nick is super talented. I know we usually see Nick doing the drums because he is the designated drummer of Scale Fracture. But I think one of the funniest things is Nick is also probably the most talented musician in Scale Fracture. But more than that, Nick also handles the production. So our EP that drops on Halloween, Nick does that. He did all the work on that. So everything you'll hear is just 100% all Nick. So, yeah, without further ado, I'm going to kind of pick up where the song left off last week and try out some new lyrics. I actually found the original lyrics that I don't even know how old this song is. That's the funny thing, is some of these songs that people hear, they're like, oh shoot, that's really cool, that's new. And it's like, no, actually it's been in my journal for like a year. And I've either just been lazy or haven't put in the time, which is also the whole point of the stream, to put in the time to work on these songs. So I'm going to get that loop going and we'll take it from there. I wanna skip to the end. I wanna skip to the end. Well, I know I'm safe, and I know you've washed me clean. But today I can't shut out the dark from taking over me. Let's get to the So I'm gonna cut the loop there because I feel like that worked for kind of figuring out a verse, but I mean actually trying to throw in a chorus in there, and that's probably where I wanna keep using kind of these weird spacey chords. And not just go immediately into the. Which later on down the road there'll probably be some lead guitar thing that goes in there. I feel like a lot of times when I'm doing a chorus, I'm often just focused more so on kind of the chord progression. It's just my approach, and my approach is always changing. Just like I was teaching one of my guitar students today when we were talking about Strucker, I barely even know her. When we were talking about song structure, of how there's verse, chorus, bridge, pre-chorus, all that, but not every song follows that formula. And I think a lot of my early songwriting days, it was, all right, we got to get a verse. All right, we got to get a chorus. We got to get a verse. Where I think now I lean more towards the actually just letting the song breathe out. I think like one of my favorite musicians songwriting wise is probably Tool, because I think they're just super creative. They're not afraid to make a song that's 10 minutes long, and just run with that. And then also, since Breach came out, kind of having a big 21 Pilots kick right now. And I like how a lot of theirs, like, it can be pretty repetitive, but they find a way to keep it interesting. And then obviously the song, I don't know if you've already been hearing it, a lot of my songs I feel like they get inspired by a certain genre or even a certain band. I still want to be original, but I think there's also these influences of, man, I really like the tone and vibe of this song. And so this one kind of, if anything, gives me Deftones vibes, because it was just kind of all those effects being thrown in. Yeah, but in a way also where those inspirations come from, finding a way of, well, I don't want to just copy, like, I want to make Scale Fracture. I want to make it original. So yeah, so this part, I'm probably going to lay down a new loop setting to just kind of figure out that chorus, see where that goes. Get up and die to live again. To let go of all my strength. Find the breathing here today. And I can't just All right, so now we're kind of there at that part where I'm loving those lyrics, but I don't feel like it feels awkward kind of putting it over that riff. So that's where I'm wondering, throwing in a total vibe change of the song, like where we've kind of had this spacey, yeah, that's the best adjective I can come up with. That spacey kind of dream vibe. But I don't know, kind of giving it like even a different vibe somewhere in there that kind of gets that aggression, like the way the emotions have been building. Like there's that line, obviously in the songs, like when I wrote these lyrics, being in this place of like, there is the me that feels spacey and kind of sad and frustrated, but then there's also this me that feels angry because what I feel is different from the truth I know, and I'm frustrated. And so kind of also wanting to add that to the music. So yeah, so this is the fun part. All of it's been the fun part. But even now, trying to add more effects to kind of what would it look like to change the vibe. Maybe not in the sense of tone, but in the sense of rhythm. Oh, dang it. I heard something that I liked, and then I couldn't figure out how I did it. So, I was kind of feeling that I like taking the chord shapes and just kind of messing with them, and that's even how we've gotten these shapes. And originally it was written on a bass, and I like the way the high E and high B kind of complement those chords. But I was kind of feeling that where that descending bass note. So we're in this weird kind of D major 7. I don't know. It's kind of funny. A lot of the songs I write, like I said, I start with a chord shape and then I just kind of mess with it and tweak it. And whenever we bring somebody new in to Scale Fracture to learn the chords of a song, to play with us, to get their input. Nick, I don't know. We'll have to get Nick to tell us the website, but there's a website where it's literally like he clicks on the frets of a guitar, and that's how he figures out what chords I'm playing, because they'll be in these weird shapes. So even that one is kind of like, don't even know what you call it. I know I'm playing a D right there, and then an F sharp, and then a D flat, and then followed by another F sharp, and then we've got high E, high B. So jazz musicians, your turn. You probably know the name of that chord. For now, we'll just call it a D, because, well, I'm the one writing the song. But I like that little subtle change from the D. If I had my fingers on the right chords. Throwing in that C sharp or D flat, whichever you prefer. Because it's those subtle changes, like our song June, that was essentially how the opening riff kind of came about. It was taking that bass note and moving it. So same thing here. And because I was a bass player before a guitar player, those influences usually come out a lot more in my songwriting too. So I'm gonna play with that for a minute and just kind of see how I'm feeling. See, this is where my songwriting process, like I said, I'm not really, the stream isn't about telling you how to write a song because, well, everybody writes a song differently. This is kind of seeing my process. And so that's where it's a lot of messing around with the chord progression. You probably can hear, the school has a lot of noise. We're also right next to a behavior center. So, you know, he kind of fits the vibe of the song right now, as bad as that sounds. All right, so I'm going to lay down that progression and see if I can fit the words in there. I'm going to lay down that progression how it should be. I was kind of feeling that. I don't know. If you don't like it, well, hey. Song is what it is, and it's still a work in progress. But yeah, even by the end of it, I wonder if there's moments where y'all are gonna watch and be like, "Oh yes, keep doing that," and I'm gonna be like, "Nah, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna cut that out." And you're gonna be like, "That was my favorite part." But that's also, you know, artist has got to do what he's led to do. So yeah, this is pretty much the end of the stream today because we like to do it in little 30-minute chunks for the sake of my other guitar students. But yeah, shout out to Grow Your Gift. Thank you again for letting me use the studio, using the space, and just giving me that time to be creative. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'm going to let that progression lay down, and I'm going to kind of throw in some other stuff here and there. So play it out. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, it's been fun.